Uh, and we are live right now. One of my biggest, or sorry, our biggest supporters, Chad, was mad
Hmm.
because I kept forgetting to upload the podcast onto the podcast platforms. You got the Apple Podcast, Spotify. So I want you guys. I know I just started, and I'm already asking you guys for a favor. But me and Pedro love you guys. If you
Listen to it.
enjoy the podcast when you listen to it on your favorite platform, because they are on all of them, there's a rating system. Hit,
Oh, I
give
didn't
us
know that. I
five
didn't know
stars.
that.
Yeah, give us a review, even if it's a bad review. Give us something. Hopefully, it's
Listen, I
good.
got no shame. Write some good shit, give us
Yeah,
5 stars, and then tell a friend to do the same thing. There we go.
exactly. Hey,
I
I
got zero
listened to
shame.
these two guys ramble
Yep.
about stuff. I think they're pretty entertaining. So
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
more reviews, the more people can kind of come across the podcast organically.
Yes.
But in case you may not even know what the hell this is the Pedro and Hannibal podcast. My name is Hannibal. This guy over here, his name is Pedro.
Hello.
And we have a lot to talk about, especially if you're already in the live chat. If you check this out on the replay, it's a lot to talk about. And the first thing, which is most important, hello, Kuala, what's up, Lee? Nova Dasher coming in with the most important thing to discuss.
Yeah. Listen,
Hannibal, I
I'm
see
typing
you,
something. I'm
news
typing
specs
something right
again.
now. Yeah. Hannibal's
This is,
Hannibal's feeling himself lately. He's going for a model contract or some shit.
I
He's over
hope,
here brushing his beard before we go
how
live. He's
dare
looking
you?
all pretty.
Because you got to make sure that you don't have food in your beard. You ever had that when you're eating and then you stop eating for a while and
I
then
probably got food in my beard. I ate wings tonight, so if I'm messy, I don't care, bro. Listen.
you
Do I got something in there? Ranch or
when you
something? Wing
nothing
sauce?
good. You good. If nothing makes your girl give you like a look of disgust when you go up to her talking and she says you have rice grains in your beard, or I think there's rice grains. Like, what is the white pieces of whatever on your beard? And I'm like,
Rice
really? And
grains.
then I try to lean in for a kiss and she runs away, but it's fine. But yeah, you
Mm,
gotta make sure that brushes. But
mm.
this is not new specs. It's just a part of the ensemble. I have a few pairs. Sometimes it goes by mood.
I'm gonna
How
have to
I'm
send you
feeling.
some
Yeah,
what do you call, like a rainbow tie dye, some colorful ones. Would you rock those? Would you for like no?
rainbow,
Okay, pink
rainbow.
ones,
How dare
purple,
you?
purple.
Purple. I mean, I'll roll with
I
the
can see purple, like a deep
Cameron. Yeah,
purple, like a
listen.
deep
Yeah,
purple. I can
Dipset,
see that.
Dipset. Like
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Dipset and all that stuff. So yeah, maybe. Hey, listen, I'm not stuck in only manly colors. Like I could rock a pink whatever. Um, thank you, Sassy, the man with the specs. I appreciate that.
Yeah. What up?
So
What up?
should we just get into the main event here?
Well, before we get into that,
Oh,
Hannibal so eloquently said in the beginning, yeah, guys, check the channel out. We do our thing. Two guys, we try to entertain you, blah, blah, blah. Listen, I'm going to throw us both on the bus real quick. I'm going to get this out the way before we get into the topics, okay?
all right.
So I was thinking about it today. Now, I'll start with you first. Both of us, well, I'll start with both of us, but then I'm going to get into you, then I'll get into me. Both of us have had really bad takes, as they call it, this year. So Hannibal, and I wrote it down. We've talked about this to all the people watching. Shout out to y'all. Oh, the Brooklyn Nets are going to win the championship. I wrote that shit down, and that's clearly not going to happen, okay? And
Yes.
then my dumb ass says, I think the Mavericks are going to go, and I can see the Mavericks.
Whoa,
They're not even going to
man.
make the playoffs. So clearly, for anybody coming for NBA advice, any NBA knowledge, this is not the channel for that, at least
I
this
agree.
year, because we have no idea
100%.
what we're talking about,
No,
okay?
not at all.
At all.
Absolutely not. I'm not
But
going to argue with you.
But the one thing, there's one common denominator here. And I think Hannibal knows what that common denominator is. Maybe some of y'all in the chat, maybe Nova might even know. Maybe Lee. Kyrie Irving played on both of those basketball teams. Okay. I mean, what is going on? Listen, we obviously don't know what we're talking about. At this point, the Lakers look strong. The Lakers have had a really good last like 20 games,
Yeah.
statistically, offensively, and defensively. Anthony Davis, when he's on the court, he's a monster. LeBron's getting back in things. At this point, it could be them, it could be the Bucks, it could be him. But both of us had really bad takes, and I blame Kyrie Irving. I said what I said.
Lee says everyone has an off day or season.
Yeah, well, we've had an
Off
off
season.
season.
We both said Jalen Brunson is ass, and why are they paying him $100 million? We literally said that.
And he's had an all-star year.
And they're saying that Jalen Brunson is probably the best free agent signing in like years, and because of how quickly one guy can change. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's better players going to different teams, but they invested. First of all, it's not like it's a bargain at this point.
If he continues playing like this for the next few years, it's a great deal for them. Absolutely,
it's a great deal. I mean, at this point, right? That he's, Knicks are in the playoffs. How far they go, I know. If I see Hector in the house, I think is Levi a Knicks fan? I'm not sure. He may just be a Giants fan.
I'm not sure.
Hector's gonna say finals or something like that.
Yeah, he's gonna say something crazy because he's being crazy. I mean, we didn't have the basketball picks, but I mean, I did call Iowa beating South Carolina. I called that last Wednesday. Right?
Yeah, I was upset with you with that. I was really appreciate that. I mean, we'll get more into that.
It happened, and I figured that was gonna happen. So
fair enough.
Anyway,
but going back to the NBA pick, so my pick changed. I guess I am following, just like most NBA fans, you follow the players, you don't care about the teams anymore. Mm-hmm. Kevin Durant came back. He has not lost a game since he signed with the Suns. They're 6-0. If the dude stays healthy, I don't see anyone beating the Suns. I just don't see it.
Fair.
Kevin Durant
scored. You're a bandwagon, fair weather. Anywhere Kevin Durant signed with the Mavericks tomorrow, you'd be like, you know what, Pedro? I think that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Going to win. You definitely would
say. if Kevin Durant went to the Mavericks, they would be going to playoffs.
True.
Because for some reason, I don't know what's the difference between Kyrie and Kevin Durant. That Kevin Durant can go to teams and they immediately win and are
Kevin Durant's a better basketball player overall. He's a more dynamic basketball player. I think
he could do more. He's taller, obviously.
He could do more. Overall, he's if you count everything if you take everything into consideration, he's a better basketball player. I don't think anybody would say Kyrie's better than KD. So for me, it's just he's better. He's a better player.
Yeah. But also it seemed like an attitude, right? I mean, Kevin Durant is very sensitive. But it don't, like, a lot of the issues he has is an inability to stop the noise, right? Yeah. The noise of other criticism. But when it comes to basketball, he's damn near perfect, right? Like,
and I think he doesn't have an ego. I think Kevin Durant, all these guys have egos, but it's not like Kyrie. Like, he goes into the Warriors, he kind of assimilated himself, and it's like, you know what, I'm gonna, do my thing, fit in. He's done the same thing with Phoenix. He's fitting in, and Booker's, still getting his touches. So I think Durant is more like, and Kyrie seems to me like he's got a little more of an ego. Like he steps in a room or the court, he's like, I'm better than everybody. I'm smarter.
And also, I think I'm smarter than everyone.
Yes,
I don't think Kevin Durant thinks he's smarter than, but Kevin thinks, Kyrie thinks he is smarter. So. He's more enlightened. Novadash says KD is not a flat earther.
Yeah.
So so my opinion, yes, I'm following the guy that I think in the playoffs could be the best player in the playoffs. Because first of all, he has shown that he could be the best player in the playoffs as long as he stays healthy. And that's the biggest if. The Lakers are, surging.
Surging at the right time.
AD, a stiff win could knock him out for 6 weeks.
It's crazy.
But if he could stay healthy, I think Lakers will look pretty good. You still got Nuggets. You still have, you still got these crazy teams. They got the Kings out of nowhere. Maybe they'll do something. I don't think so, but I think the Suns is I think the Suns, and it's annoying. It's not like I'm happy about it. I'm gonna be happy if KD leaves the Nets and wins a championship with the Suns. It doesn't help his legacy. He keeps saying he doesn't care. He said that recently. He does. He's not honest with us. Of course he cares. He just keeps making really bad decisions. Yeah. So if he wins the Suns, does that change him? Does that make him a better? Does that rise him in terms of like legacy
he adds another champion. He has another championship, which would be his third, which is nice.
It's nice.
And he did it in a short amount of time with that team. I can see Devin Booker being the MVP finals. Or
Booker is not a scrub.
It just depends. It just depends. But I think it doesn't hurt. It helps. You win a championship, it doesn't hurt your legacy.
Going to a stacked team. It becomes a stacked team when he's on it, right? Because you have Booker, Paul.
It doesn't matter because if he would have won with the Nets, that's a stacked team. So it doesn't. You know what I'm saying? If he would have won with the Nets with Kyrie and Harden, or even without Harden, that's still a stacked team. And most of these teams, with the exception of a couple, they all got stacked. All the contenders are all stacked. They all got at least two superstars, or sometimes three big names. So in today's NBA, the contenders are all kind of loaded up, right? So I don't think it hurts. It helps. That's just my opinion. But
so who's your new pick since you crashed and burned so epically? Because hey, the Nets are going to the playoffs. So they're not going anywhere, but they're a good young team with some nice young pieces.
Yeah,
they're going to do better than the Mavs because the Mavs are not going to play. So who's your new pick?
What? I'm a rock with the. I would love to see the Celtics win. The Bucks. Those are my teams right now. I wouldn't be surprised. I'd put the Suns at third, and I'd put the Lakers at fourth.
Okay. So right now you got it's Celtics Bucks, but you don't have a pick which one you think will go to the finals.
I think the Celtics are going to go to the finals.
No,
I was saying Celtics versus the Mavericks, so I'm going to.
But you love the Celtics, but the Bucks is good, man. They've been beating some really good teams.
I'm a big Giannis.
Giannis. And Tatum, you think Tatum is going to finally like take it to the next level? Because he's like there, he's like right there, but he's not Giannis. I don't think so.
Nobody's Giannis. I think Giannis is the best basketball player in the league, in my opinion. But I think the Celtics. That's what I'm going for. So
Nova wanted us to laugh for a second. Appreciate that. Appreciate the jokes. Who plays for the Wizards? Like Beal and Chris Porzingis
and Kuzma.
Yeah, I think they're gonna pay him a bunch of money. That'll be a waste of time. KP can't stay on the team.
No. Let's transition to what I have considered the best basketball out of all the three: men's, college, women's, and NBA. Right now, this last week, women's college basketball has taken over Twitter, ESPN. It's taken over everything. And I want to show some love to these ladies: Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark. It's been a crazy week, man. What do you think? What did you watch any of the games? I'm sure you saw some highlights.
I saw some highlights. I've been checking out tons of information, and things were great before the events that happened at the championship game. You've been telling me about Caitlin Clark. People were watching because of Caitlin Clark.
Yes,
Angel Reese is a good player, but there's tons of players that are good from women's basketball who've done great things, won multiple championships.
Yes,
no one watches them. They just don't. They watch Caitlin Clark because they see things that they don't see in a women's player. I mean, we're just gonna be honest, right?
She's literally plays like Steph Curry.
She's launching 3-pointers from wherever. She's trash talking. Got a lot of attitude, a lot of pizzazz, and no one really cared. Like you said, check out Caitlin Clark, and I was like, okay. So
she didn't disappoint, man. She scored 40 points, 41 points. First time that's ever happened. Didn't play that. She played good yesterday, but not great. But she still scored 31 points. I mean, come on. So it's like, damn. And she didn't. And she was off the court a lot because of fouls. So she clearly is. I mean, was a better player on the court. But LSU was a superior team.
Oh, better team.
LSU balled out. I mean, they were hitting threes like they've never done before. The one girl had 21 points at the half. Amazing career game. And then the guard, 45. I think they call her Morris is her last name. They call her. I forget the name.
I know you're talking about
Lex Luthor or something like that. Anyways, she played phenomenal second half. I mean, phenomenal.
She's the one that kind of locked up Caitlin a little bit, right? And kind of made it a little difficult, and also was hitting shots too.
And hitting shots.
And it kind of works in college basketball, especially how the refs kind of make some not the best calls, at least in my opinion. Some of the calls I thought I was like, all right, but that's just college game how it works.
Should have let them play a little bit more.
A little bit. But it is what it is. LSU had a better team. Yeah. Iowa had the best player. But the problem is you need a full team sometimes, right? Yeah. So I think it's amazing. I think more people talk about women's basketball now than ever before, at least in the college level. And the one question, I guess, before we get into like the big issue that everyone was talking about, how can they figure out how? And I'm talking about the WNBA. How can they figure out how to get this kind of energy into their sport? And that's the biggest problem. And the problem is with a single elimination tournament, it puts that storyline and puts the pressure and all the great stuff in
it makes
there,
it more exciting when it's single elimination. Clearly.
which obviously the professional sports don't have other than basically NFL, right? They they're that's what I mean. That's probably the reason why the NFL is probably so dominant. It's well, especially when you get that play, you win, you lose, that's it. There is no time to come back. And even though I love game sevens, I'm sure you do, but we love game sevens because one win, that's it.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, how can they get it? And can Clark bring some kind of excitement into?
Well, let me say this, because I've watched women's college basketball for the last 8 years. Like I keep up with it a little bit, not a lot, but I know the names.
So you had more than I have.
We can go back 8-9 years with Maya Moore with UConn. She was a beast. Maya Moore was so good. You can go to even last year to Paige Bucker. She plays on UConn. Very good. National Player of the Year as a freshman. She's hurt her knee. She's got some ACL issues, but she is a bucket. She's a phenomenal player. She also plays with a lot of swag. Kind of plays like a dude. That's why she's got a lot of plug.
Yeah.
But then you go to Breanna Stewart, another UConn player. I think she won 4 Player of the Years and 4 championships. Like, I mean, nobody's ever done that. I mean, and all these women went into the WNBA. You've got the Asia Wilson from South Carolina back in 2017. That's when South Carolina won their first one with Dawn Staley. She went into the league. Great player. Like, women's college basketball produce some really great talent, and they get to the WNBA. The issue is it's not like the NBA where you've got like 20 or 30 guys that are really, really, really good, right? Where you've got a top 10 and they're kind of interchangeable. In the WNBA, every year you've got a couple girls really good, and then everybody else is just kind of mid. Okay.
Right.
Like, because they got to fill the rosters out. No, they're all great, but it's not NBA great, right? It's just there's levels, and there's a big drop off, right?
Right.
So for me, Caitlin Clark, I mean, there's been players that have been more decorated or better, coming from like more Player of the Years and like all this kind of stuff, right? Caitlin Clark's been good, but like this year she's really catapulted herself because her team got really far in the tournament. They'd never gotten this far before. So more attention is on her, but she could go to the WNBA. Her game's going to translate. The way she played, it's Steph Curry. And she was doing things Steph Curry was doing for Davidson when he was in college.
Yeah, a lot of people use that comparison.
They won some games, but they didn't get to the Final Four. They didn't get to the championship. Steph Curry didn't have back-to-back 40-point games. He didn't break the record for most points in a tournament and assists in a tournament as well by a woman. Nobody's ever had 40-point games on the men or women's side in the Final Four ever in consecutive games. So he didn't do those things. So she actually had a better college March Madness than him. So I think she'll go to the WNBA and do very good. She can't go this year. She has to do one more year in Iowa. So hopefully she doesn't get hurt. But, she plays the game really different. In the WNBA, a lot of the women that are usually really good are centers or forwards. So they're bigger. So the game is all on the inside. And sometimes, they can stretch and hit some outshot. But it's a lot of inside game, which think about the W or think about the NBA. The NBA is not inside as much. It used to be. It's more 3-point. And people like the 3-point shot. Kids like the 3-point shot. It's exciting, fast paced. Yesterday's game was the most points scored ever in a national title game, men or women. So these girls were balling out. But the reason is because all the threes they were hitting on both sides of the court. So for me, Caitlin Clark will probably do better than some of the other women I mentioned because her game's different. It's more coming from a guard, because typically also in the WNBA, when you have a good guard, Tarazi, Skylar Diggins, the old one, Cynthia Cooper way back in the day, the point guard, Sue Bird, they're not bringing the ball up hitting 30-foot threes. None of those guys are doing that on a regular basis, off the dribble, off a pick. None of them do that regular. Caitlin Clark does that on a regular basis with a hand in her face. That's what Steph Curry does. So I think she will help the WNBA, but I don't know if it'll be significant enough to where it's like going to change the whole league. You know what I'm saying?
I see. Jody McCormick says LSU had the better bench. Enough said it. They had a better team.
Big time.
And she said, take a guess what sport I played very well in college. Jody, you played lacrosse really well.
I'm going to say you were a good swimmer, Jody. How about that?
Softball? Is softball a sport?
Softball?
College?
Did you play football maybe?
Nah, she's
I think she played. She probably.
softball.
I'm assuming you played basketball. I'm assuming.
Or like volleyball, perhaps. I know that's a team that really like tall women do pretty well in
Yeah.
volleyball, obviously
So,
because
so
of that.
Jody, how did I do with my rundown? You let us know in the comments. I named some people. I missed a lot.
I
There's been a lot of great college women's basketball players that have gone into WNBA and
and
done
just became
very,
good
very well.
players,
Good
decorated.
players,
They'll
but they
go.
haven't
They'll
changed
get
the
the
game.
Olympics. They'll
Yeah.
get the gold medals. They'll get the All Stars. They'll get, but they don't. People don't care. And I guess we'll get into the whole Angel Reese thing. So Angel Reese has a lot of really good social media, right? She's
Yeah.
killing that. She's making more money than anybody at this point in terms
Yeah.
of college players. So she's always going to have that because social media is about attention. The more attention you can get, the more money you can kind of receive.
Mhm.
In terms of her game, pretty good game, right? Even the
Oh,
championship, I think she lost 15 points. I think she got like 10 rebounds.
well,
Had a
she had
solid game.
34 double doubles this year. That's never been
Yeah.
done. Once again, on the men or women's side, we're
Yeah.
comparing these women like to both. That's how good they've been this
Right.
year. These two. So it's
And she's
not
tall.
just.
She's on the tall side, right? She's
I think
6'.
6'5" or something, or six.
Which is tall
Maybe six.
for
She's tall. She's
actually, let
power
me look.
forward center.
She's tall for obviously a woman, but
Yeah.
so she's and I'll be honest, I 6'3", 6'3",
She
but
plays
she's
in
a forward.
she plays in the paint. I'll say this right now. She will not have as much of an impact in the WNBA as Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark
Right.
would be a superstar. Angel Reese will be a star because of her personality and her swag and her like smile and like all the other things that she does off the court really well. But
Yeah.
her game isn't going to translate as well to the WNBA.
Well, being a forward at 6'4", I'm assuming the forwards in WNBA is probably taller. If I'm
A
just
little
gonna
bit taller
guess.
now. Yeah.
Jody said no bowling.
I
Damn,
doubt
we
that.
did not get any.
You
I
missed
didn't
it.
even
How
think
we not-
about bowling.
How we not guess bowling?
Are you a good bowler? I am terrible.
No, I'm the kind of bowler. I'll have 2 or 3 strikes in a row, and then my next 3 throws will be in the gutter. So
Yeah,
I'm all
I
over
don't
the
know
place.
what I'm
Yeah.
doing. It is a good sport to get a drink in.
It's
Get
fun.
some drink, some drink in, Dane. I'm a little bit more like because I think sometimes I'm putting too much thought on how the hell I get the curve, but once I have a beer too, I'm like, all right, F it. But yeah, I'm terrible with bowling. Yes, that's a good point. So championship game happened, and the big controversy, and I guess I'll say right now, it wasn't that big a deal. It wasn't that big a deal. But the big deal is not with Caitlin Clark. She took it like a G. Yeah.
She did nothing. She
didn't care.
She didn't.
Whatever. It happens. I was just proud to be here. I lost the biggest game of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Angel Reese, in my opinion, the way she did the extra following Caitlin Clark after
He went after her. I was watching the game live, and I
Yeah.
thought as I was watching it live, I was like, damn, she's really going for it, and she's in the moment. I didn't dislike it at all. If anything, this is good for the game. It's more exposure. It's like she's being herself. She was excited. I would probably do the same thing. I mean, Caitlin Clark is cocky as fuck, and she should be. That's why she's popular too, because she does these things, and she's also got that swag, and you don't see that a lot from some of the women. You see it from Diana Taurasi. She's a pro. She's like that. Candace Parker's like that a little bit, but not a lot of them. A lot of them are pretty just kind of chill. So it's good, but I was surprised that she did it the way she did, because she a beeline right towards her, and she did it for like 10 seconds multiple times.
Yeah,
right?
I actually did I upload that video? So it's a comparison. Oh shoot, did I remember? I may have forgot to put it. The comparison of the amount of time.
Yes.
She Clark did it compared to Angel Reese. When Clark did hers, it was like done. That was it. When Angel,
well, sometimes she did it to the crowd too.
Yeah, and she didn't even like go to follow. But Angel is like, you see her not paying attention, and he's still following her. So my view on it is, as much as it's a big deal, it felt real Patrick Beverly-ish to me. It felt a lot of bringing.
Yeah,
like it's all about me. You didn't do it. You didn't block her shot. You didn't throw a J in her face. You didn't drive her to the basketball and kind of did an and one. You're winning. You won the game. And it's like, let me do it. It's like it was try hard. It was try hard.
Well, you know what? It's funny you mention it, because when I was watching it, after I was like, damn, okay, she's gonna do it. And I thought it was a good thing. I'm fine with it. I am, and I think we'll get into all the hate she's getting in a minute. But I also thought, I think there are times you mentioned her social media, right? And you see this with certain players, and They know the cameras on them.
Absolutely.
She knew what she was doing. She's
Yes.
extremely
It
smart.
was
And
on
she
purpose.
knew
Yeah,
that is
definitely.
a picture. That's going to be on the
Yeah.
cover of something. People are going to
Pointing
be
to the
talking about it.
ring. I'm in the
Yes.
ring.
Yes. So she
So
did
yeah.
that for effect for sure.
Yeah. But I think it would have looked better if you actually like, yeah, did it had a great game, right? 15 points. But do you do all that? You can't see me, and you're the guy, the person that you're doing it drop 30. Like it just
Yeah.
seemed off to me. It just
Mm.
seemed a little off. It just seemed and the way it looked like to me, I need attention on me. I'm winning the championship. It was too much attention on this chick over here. But it was like, hey, no one came to watch you, unfortunately.
Mm.
They came to see Kelly and Clark. And you won. You got a championship. Why are you
they won.
following
Yeah.
homegirl?
Yeah.
And I think yes, we'll talk about that backlash. Caitlin Clark came out looking better. She didn't pretend she was a victim. She didn't say she disrespected me. She knows she talks a lot of smack. You gotta able to take it and give it. When you give it, you gotta take it. Even though it was a little weird, because she probably was like, why was she following me? That's kind of off. Like, did I to a point like, is this something that Caitlin Clark say during the game?
Well, we don't know. There could have been there could have been
if she did, then that would been work. Like she called her a bitch, or you can't play, you trash. Cool. And I think if it did, I think Angel would have said something. I don't think Caitlin Clark said anything. I think she just did it because she disrespected the other team that she played, whether South Carolina, I believe. But it's like, who cares? Y'all on the same team. But anyway, that's my opinion. And we'll break down some of the backlash. But I thought that was a bit weird. It was a bit off. I don't know. Just like, and I'm interested that you, like, if you're a coach, you're about to win a big game, and one of your star players is following while we were going to win, following and trying to taunt. Not during a score, not a block, not a steal.
Yeah, but the game for me, I don't have an issue with it, and I think why Kim Mulkey, the coach of LSU, only in her second season only, and brought over like 9 new players. Like she's one of the best coaches in women's college basketball history. She's got 4 championships. And what she's known for, she lets her players be themselves. She doesn't try to like. Not, you know what I'm saying? You know, some coaches, like these old school coaches, you know, she's an older lady, right? They're like, oh, you got to be my way or the highway. She lets their personalities shine. And I think that's why LSU's had such a great year very quickly, because they can be themselves on and off the court. They know that the coach has their back 100%. You know, she'll check them if she needs to. But it's like, I think for me, because it was at the end of the game had been decided. You know, there wasn't like there was a minute left and they're up by 10. At that point, hey, things can still happen. She wasn't, doing it then. She did it when the game was literally ending. And I'm for it, man. And I think the reason you got to understand, if Caitlin Clark doesn't play the way she plays, if she's not waving people off like she did at the South Carolina girl saying, you're nobody, I'm not going to worry. That you don't have, as Caitlin Clark doesn't have to put her hand like that and dismiss a fellow opponent, right? She doesn't have to do that, but she did it. And it's a little bit of an embarrassment, but it's also you're getting into other players' head. Like, I'm not worried about you. And the girl didn't shoot the ball, right, when she did that. So I think because Caitlin's how she plays, I think Angel was like, all right, we just won. I'm going to give that back to you. And I got no problem with it. And if I'm a coach, I don't have a problem with it because we just won. I don't think it was over the top necessarily. I will say this. If Caitlin Clark reacts differently, so think about how some of the men react, right? Imagine Pat Beverly doing that to LeBron or Russell Westbrook, or just they're probably going to look at him and
yo, what's up?
Exactly.
That's what men with the extra
testosterone.
testosterone.
Clark does that, then it takes away from the game and the championship, because then maybe they're feuding, they're talking, they're pushing. She didn't, so Caitlin definitely looked better in that regard, but. I got no problem.
I think she looks better. I do think the way she reacted, like, I lost. So what, and she said she didn't see it. I think she felt it. You're looking up at, I'm sure they're doing replays, but I'm just going to go, as she said, I just going to go up to the walking line and shake hands, and because I lost. The game is over. So I rather taunt me or taunt in the game, taunt Caitlin in the first quarter, second quarter, while they're playing. I just felt like all the great trash talkers, they taunt in the game while it's important.
But
your Larry Birds, your MJs, your Kobe's.
If you taunt the greats in the game, sometimes that gives them more energy to come at you.
Well, but that's the thing. And I feel like if you really about that, you hit them when you hit them in the game. So
Yeah.
like,
Okay.
I hate Reggie Miller. Hate Reggie Miller. Piece of crap. Hate him.
It's because you're a Knicks fan.
Yeah, obviously. That's gangster. When he's throwing threes and you can't stop it, hitting, was it 8 points in, I don't know, 5 seconds. And he's putting the choke sign. What can we do? Nothing.
That's great.
That's
that's
kind
great.
of taunt I like.
Yeah.
That's so for him doing all the extra stuff after he wins, like, it's not the same feeling. Or even I'll take another one. Trae Young, again, was beating up the Knicks. Him bowing.
Oh, bro,
that's cold. That's cold.
It's cold.
He didn't go after anyone following around. I'm gonna go in the middle of the court and bow.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it's just the tactic was a little off. I love taunting. I mean, talking shit is part of basketball.
No, I think it's good. Yeah, it's good.
It just felt weird you following a chick. Like, how about you just did that towards while you walk back to your bench? Like, why are you following her? Like,
yeah. I mean, deliberately her. It's not like because they were several feet apart, and it wasn't like she did it to another player. She
went after her.
She said, I got a moment right now. I'm going to let her know that we got this. You can't see me. I get it. But it was definitely, she took because if Caitlin Clark was on the other end of the floor, she's probably not doing it. Everything just kind of lined up that they were close enough. She could do it. The cameras are going to be on them for sure. And listen, this is good for women's basketball. This is positive. And I'm going to say right now, Iowa's winning next year. Okay. Caitlin Clark's going to be the player of the year again, and Iowa is going to win a national championship.
Is Angel playing of the year or she's going to WNBA?
I'm not sure. I think she's
I feel like she went to, I forgot what team she was on before she
was on Maryland. I think
2 years, I think.
I think she's a sophomore, like technically, but she's old enough to be a junior. But I think she can't go to the WNBA. Same way Caitlin Clark.
I would say I'm trying to look.
Maybe they play again. That'd be fantastic. That'd be if they wind up.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be great for.
It's funny that we're all using a gesture from a wrestler that was popular like 20 years, like 30 years ago.
Is it John Cena?
John Cena.
Yeah,
some people say that he took it from Flavor Flav because Flavor Flav apparently did weird, but I think Flavor Flav was just tweaking. But like he put his hands like this sometimes. But yeah, John Cena is a man. I mean, John Cena is a man. Shout out, watching some WrestleMania yesterday. They actually sold. Vince McMahon sold the WWE. So now there's a company called Endeavor. And then is it? I think I pronounced it right. Endeavor or something like that. Mm-hmm. Endeavor. They own the UFC. So now they own the UFC and the WWE.
I thought Dana White owned the UFC.
Huh?
Or I thought Dana White owned the UFC.
He's just the president.
Oh, okay.
He may have some stock and some whatever, but
I thought
he is just a guy. He answers to the CEO of this company in Denver. Okay. So now they have two. They got both these companies, and they both value together $22 million. No, billion.
No,
$22 billion.
That's crazy.
And everyone still keeps their jobs.
You told me yesterday, about the WrestleMania. I'm like, as a kid, I watched like a little. I remember certain, Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior and Andre the Giant and the legends.
You're going way back, Pedro.
I'm going way back, yeah. But past that, I don't.
Listen, you're the cool kids. You had time. You had time to watch wrestling. You was out there getting girls and hanging out on the street.
It's so over the top for me. Like it's so like the acting's bad and like they're all like they got like lotion on their or like Vaseline on their body.
Oils. Some of them do. Some have our. It's fine. But it's so much of hip hop culture comes from wrestling. The bravado, the over top, your Ric Flairs, your Stone Cold Steve Austin, the Rock, that over top stuff that they watch. The point why they're doing this, why do you think they're doing it? They watch it. They watch wrestling and they take that swagger, that overconfidence, and sometimes it gets too ridiculous because, like you said, it's over the top to a point where now NBA player is over the top with their antics. Like why? Probably because they grew up watching wrestling. But
well, those wrestling guys these guys are athletes.
Oh, man. Yeah, definitely.
It's crazy what they do and put their body through. I've seen some documentary stuff on Andre the Giant. Like I'm a big Andre the Giant fan, huge, because of what he did for wrestling. Like he's the GOAT. And that's just my opinion. Him and Hogan and things they did, and Andre the Giant's stories are legendary. Guy drinks like 50 beers on like a flight.
Oh yeah, crazy.
I mean, just crazy.
The story about Ric Flair. Like Ric Flair had a personality of jet setting, flying, fancy clothes. He lived that life.
Yeah,
that's why he got broke. He was literally acting he was living the gimmick,
He was living it.
you
Yeah.
know. And yeah, it's so much. And to be honest, professional wrestling is the most probably dangerous professions you can do. Like if I had to choose like what profession my son should take, I'd rather have him go in the NFL than be a professional wrestler.
I think. Well, I
The
think.
mortality rate from professional wrestling, it's people they die
Yeah.
often.
Well, I think they're pushing their body, but a lot of these guys are also definitely on the drugs and the
Oh yeah,
roids and
definitely.
this and
Yeah,
that. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah, definitely.
they're pumping their body with so much
Yeah.
stuff, and it's extremely unhealthy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I don't know if you knew the story about Chris Benoit and what he did.
Yeah.
Um, he's best friends with Eddie Guerrero, and I don't know if you had a chance to watch him wrestle. He was a phenomenal wrestler, but they all were juiced up to the gills, man. Like, and the pain they were in. So there's
Yep.
painkillers. It's probably coke because you know they were all partying, traveling. It's crazy. It's a crazy, but you know I love it. It was a fantastic time.
Yeah.
Nicholas says a little older comment, but check it out. I think taunting is okay, but because sports are partly a mind game, but I think there's a fine line, things you can and can't do while taunting someone. Yeah,
Fair.
obviously, and I don't think it obviously didn't get to any kind of crazy fight,
No.
but the fight really happened on Twitter, online.
Yeah.
I tell you, Pedro, listen.
What do you think, Meg? Bring it. I'm curious to hear what your perspective is on
because if you guys have it, I'm sure you guys can see this, or if you're checking out the podcast on the audio medium, I am indeed a black man. It may not sound that way. Yeah, right. It may not sound that way. I'm like, sure? Really? Yes. Very chocolate.
Very chocolate.
I would say for many black people, it must be exhausting to think everything is about race. It has to be. If everything I thought was a battle,
it is. So I would think it would be exhausting. Yeah.
And I don't have that mentality. Maybe that's why I feel so young. I'm not stressing myself out. If someone criticizes someone's behavior,
yeah, you're not automatically going to the race cars. What you're saying.
And many black people have that, and it has to be exhausting because you're basically thinking everyone is out to get me. There's groups out to hunt me down. There's groups out to criticize me. And when someone criticizes someone's behavior, they say this person acts like an asshole, and then the black person that's that was called asshole is like, no, you're just saying that because I'm black, and it's like, no, you're an asshole. It doesn't matter about your race. It doesn't, but you can't convince that with certain people. So once the word classless got trended on Twitter, and I disagree. I don't think it's classless. I found it annoying. I thought it was try hard. I wouldn't say it's classless. Whatever. They're playing basketball. Most of these people who start arguing with each other about basketball, about sports, about football, don't watch the damn sport.
Or they never play. Because I tell you what, I played a lot of street ball. I've played in leagues.
Way worse.
Oh my God. The amount of trash talk? Basketball is the biggest trash talking sport of them all. Okay.
Yes.
The amount of trash talk on a playground,
just a playground,
rec league, a damn YMCA run on a Sunday morning. The amount of trash talk is these girls did nothing. That is tame. Okay. So for me, it's I will say this. The one thing I'll disagree with you on a little bit is well, I don't usually like the race card depending on how it's played. I think there are times it needs to be played. That's just me. But I think it doesn't. Some of the optics didn't help. Okay, because you look at Iowa's team, all white chicks, all ponytails on the top of their head, not a lot of swag except Caitlin. I think they had one girl that maybe she was mixed on the team, but she wasn't a big star. LSU, you got a rapper, you got hair, nails, lashes,
social media,
extreme swag, and I love it. I'm for it. You got to coach this swag.
If it's the
LSU,
it fits the where there are. So
it fits where there are, and I think it's good. I mean, we need to see people are. You got to be who you are, right? But I don't think it helped the narrative or whatever because you got basically white girls versus black chicks. That's what it was yesterday. You can see that on, and I don't care who you are. If you're watching a game, you notice that. Okay, if you watch a game, you notice it. Whether it's men, women, whatever sport. I watch baseball sometimes, and I see nothing but Latinos on one team versus a bunch of white dudes. I'm like, oh, I don't know, it's like Puerto Rico versus America. Like you notice that, and there's nothing wrong with noticing it, right?
No, so no, of course not.
I think the optics of it is what got people like feeling some type of way because it's like it's you know what I'm saying. But for me, I don't understand why when Caitlin Clark does, it's like, oh, this is good for the game. It's good. She's got swag. It's good. She's competitive. She plays like a dude. She's like Stephen Curry. But when somebody else does it, it's like, oh, well, it's classless. It's like, what? You didn't say that when Caitlin Clark did it to the girl from Louisville the other day. She did the same thing at the. You didn't say that. You said it was kind of cool and it's on ESPN. And so I just think it's like, I do think this with some people. You can have somebody do the same exact thing, but if they look different, the reaction is different. Okay, it just is. You could have somebody that looks like you stand out in front of a fancy store, and somebody might question you. Well, hey, what's going on? You going to shop in here? That shit happens all the time, right? So I think sometimes it's the optics of it can be skewed, but it's usually with dumb, ignorant people. And I think a few people put some tweets out there, and analysts said some things, and then it gets blown out of proportion.
I guess what happens clearly is we are thinking the worst of each other.
Yes.
At all times. So if someone says, I think Angel Reese was classless, it could be just their thought of it's classless. They may not even like what Caitlin Clark did, right? They may like, hey, both of them, I don't like it. I don't like what Stephen Curry does the fall asleep thing. I don't like. That's consistent. If it's consistent with your thoughts.
Fair.
But everyone went straight to race.
Yeah.
I was like, not everyone. Yes, it's probably a segment of the community that, it probably has some racial undertones.
Yeah.
But everybody that disagrees, and everyone that's and I do think what people are saying that the difference was Caitlin did it in the game, saying it to no one. Angel's following someone.
Yeah.
Is that enough to say that? Is that enough for someone to have a reasonable argument of why there's a difference? Or do you think it's not? It's still too similar, and they kind of have to realize, hey, if you think what Caitlin did was okay, then just chill out with it. Yeah, it may have been a little bit too much, probably, but it's not that big a deal. Why are we even arguing?
Yeah,
like that could be a good argument as well. Like, was it that big of a deal?
No,
I don't think it was that big a deal.
No, I think like you said, you brought a good point. It was kind of like, you're just trying too hard, right? But like, you
excited. You got too excited, and I was like, all right, bring it back in. All right, you got it. That's what I was saying.
But I will say this: I think I could be wrong, but if these two teams that are playing, if it's not LSU, if it's Stanford, okay, and there's a player on Stanford named Cameron Britt or something, and Stanford won last year. So, and a lot of the chicks on, in Stanford, the girl on Stanford is a white chick. She's tall and she's white. She's got like braids, right?
Yeah.
If Cameron, the star from Stanford, does that same thing to Caitlin Clark, we're not talking about it the same way. We're just not.
It's more of a funny, amusing story.
Yeah, it's
compared
to. It's different. But unfortunately, ESPN and all, they follow that race stuff. They play that. They play up to it.
They play up to it, and I don't want like. They all had the same take. And then all the conservative sports, Outkick, and I check them all out, right? Like I go on Twitter or YouTube, I check out Outkick. Outkick has like a conservative slant. Obviously, ESPN has the liberal slant, and it's like, oh yeah, really just falling in line. Everything is so tribal. It's my group against your group, and like I'm just kind of like, I'm always in the middle, and I guess I'm just gonna stick that way. I look at it, I'm like, yeah. Not that big a deal, but I guess in hindsight, maybe she should took it back. But like you were saying, social media, she knew it. She knew that she's gonna bring more eyeball. Stop paying attention to Clark. We have a better team. We're champions. She's not.
Yeah.
So it was, like I said, I think it was probably orchestrated and smartly by her, because now we know. I knew of her. Like we talked all about it before.
We did, game. But now her star is even elevated, even if she's getting the bad plug. Because listen, she's a really, really, really good player. Okay, she's got a beautiful smile. She's got great energy. She loves the camera. She knows what she's doing. Like she's a star. You know what I'm saying? She's a star. You know what I'm saying? She's like Ja Morant a little bit. She's got that star quality. She just has it.
You know what? That's a good point you just threw out. And I'm wondering, because this kind of came to me when you said his name. Do you think a little bit of the way she operates and how she celebrates is where people
are a lot of similarities.
People don't like the Ja Morant kid.
Yeah, and there's the gritting and stuff like that. And you look Steph Curry. Steph Curry does that stuff, but
he'll do the show. He showboats. he'll do a little stupid.
Yeah,
I don't know if he stopped doing it. I remember he used to do the
a
Mark
little
Jackson a
shimmy.
little bit of
He did the
shimmy when he
shimmy.
come
Yeah,
down. So yeah, he'll throw it in your face a little bit.
yeah.
So like he's not immune to this. But I'm wondering if that's it because John Moran had a lot of problems the last couple of weeks.
Mhm,
He's too hood. He
mhm,
acting like he's
mhm,
hood. He's not.
mhm.
And I'm wondering if she's getting a little bit about that. You know, both black people, both.
There's similarities
I'm wondering
between
that could be it.
yeah. There's
Of
similarities between how not how they play, but just the energy and
right.
the music they're listening to and they're dancing and like some people love it and some people don't.
No,
There
some
are
people
still
don't.
in this country, there are still a lot of people that are just really grumpy and they don't like change and different stuff. And you know
No.
what I'm saying? Like they just don't.
Even some
And
of even your older black people, man, they back
yeah.
in my day, just we didn't do that. We ain't doing
Yep.
dancing on the court. And like, well, that was they even have a court back then. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I understand what you're saying. Like, you gotta have people be themselves, but at the same time, listen, she can kind of do more, but she won a championship.
Yeah.
John Moran dancing around like a fool, like he
He
didn't
ain't
win
done,
anything.
he ain't won nothing
So like
yet.
it, and I forgot. Remember, I did say that I forgot to talk about this team, the Grizzlies. They could do some damage too. I forgot about them. I don't know if you have them high. I don't think you probably have them like
I already
fifth,
named my
sixth.
top four. I don't have them. Maybe they're 5 or 6, but yeah, I,
You
I
don't
don't
see
know.
it.
I don't trust. I think for me, when I think of NBA and teams that have like done it all the way, they've got John Morant to me is not a good enough leader yet. And when your leader is like a
Mm.
Dylan Brooks type, you're not winning a championship. I'm
Is he?
sorry.
Do they call him that? They probably do.
Well, they probably yeah.
If
And
if they do
I
that,
just
that's a
don't.
problem.
I don't see
Yeah.
it. I don't see
But
it.
would it be? That would be a great story, though. And maybe I'm in my mind, in the mind of like, what a great story if the Memphis Grizzlies somehow
Be
make it to the
redemption
final.
in some ways for Ja,
That'll be
probably.
kind. And I'm thinking up too because I'm thinking in that locker room right now, they're like, listen, no one believes in us. They think we're thugs. They think we're out of control. We have
Mhm.
no self control. We have no discipline. Let's stay in our locker rooms or stay in our hotels when we away. Let's not get ourselves in any no strip clubs,
Yeah.
no holding someone's gun for the Instagram story.
Yeah.
Let's play basketball. Let's insulate ourselves. Let's make our own bubble and just play basketball.
Listen, that's a great point. And those things, those type of conversations could be having. Maybe they happened in the last couple of weeks. But if I'm a betting man, Ja Morant ain't that dude that's going to do that. He's just I don't think he's there yet. It doesn't
This
mean he can't
season
be
or
there.
ever.
I think he could get there, but I don't. If I'm him, that is exactly the very similar type of conversation I'm having with my team. I'm coming off my suspension, my counseling, my therapy. I'm saying, hey guys, and I'm not doing this at the arena. I'm taking my guys somewhere, bringing them to the house. I'm taking them to
Oh
dinner,
yeah,
and I'm
definitely.
having a
Players
conversation with
only
them
meeting or something
just
like
like that.
that.
Yep, I'm standing at the table. Hey guys, I fucked up,
Yeah.
but we're gonna go win a championship. We're gonna prove everybody wrong. But he's not that guy that's gonna do that.
I guess I'm the only one who likes the Grizzlies, and I barely like them. Nova, like I still think the Grizzlies. Nova says I think the Grizzlies must have Hannibal's
Hannibal's been
loser or
on the
something
Grizzlies.
for
He's
him.
not. Nova's not wrong.
I'm
He's not
just
wrong.
thinking. Listen, don't listen to me. Clearly, I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to NBA. But
Neither do
I'm following storylines and maybe not necessarily the game. That this sounds like a goddamn movie where everyone thinks they're unorganized, they're terrible, like Bad News Bears or something like that, or Mighty Ducks or something, where
Yeah.
they all have to come together. No one believes in us, and they start winning. I don't know. And if
So
it
you're
does
saying that
happen,
they could be like the bad boys, Detroit Pistons in the late '80s. They could be like that. Everybody's
but
kind
like
of
you said, your
against us.
leadership, there's no. I
It's
mean, they
not.
had
They
three
don't have. Yeah.
leaders that's stronger than anything John Moran could put together. I mean, Isaiah
Yeah.
Thomas is a G.
Oh,
He's a soft spoken dude,
dude,
but
we
he's
don't talk
gangster.
about Isaiah Thomas enough. That dude's
Yeah.
from the streets of Chicago.
He wants to punch Jordan
I
in the
mean,
face if he could
yeah,
right now.
yeah.
He like,
Isaiah Thomas was that dude, and
yeah.
he was winning. Beating the Celtics and like beating the Bulls and beating the Lakers and the Trailblazers, like good teams. The Detroit Pistons were crazy good. We don't talk about them enough. And they won
They were
back-to-back championships.
they beat up Jordan.
Yeah,
And Jordan still had a kind of come through. So yeah, it's a long shot. I still, my pick if I had a bet, I still think the Suns are gonna make it just
yeah,
because of goddamn Durant. I can't stand it. But there's actually one team
yeah.
we forgot to talk about before we end this, and I don't want to sound like a dickhead. I really don't. but
Oh,
I
here we
have some
go.
thoughts. So
Okay.
Andrew Wiggins is officially
Oh yeah.
the what they say, because he's missed how many. I'm gonna actually look this up before I even say how many
I know he's
games
about ready to
did
come back. I feel like look,
21 games he has missed. That is
so it's like
one quarter of the season.
yeah.
And they refused to tell anybody what was going on. So rumors started to fly because when you don't say anything, we don't know what's happening.
And if people are gonna
And
look and start digging up. So
people are looking up things, and I know there's many people, we don't deserve to know what's happening. I'm sorry, I'm a season ticket holder or I'm paying for an event. No, I would like to know. I would like to have some idea. I'm investing to watch these guys, and it's yes, I'm sorry. It's a business. We're customers. Yeah, we'd like to know something. That's why they have injury reports to have things. They just kept their lips shut about it. And it was like, and that's when the rumors came that perhaps some chicanery was afoot. Chicanery, I don't like that word. That he is having some kind of emotional breakdown because one of the kids that he was raised was not his kid. And apparently it may have been his best friend kid, and the girlfriend was, and girlfriend, they were not married. They're not married.
Oh, I thought they were married. They're not married.
I think it's a girlriend on in the
But
article.
they got 2 kids and they're
They have
living
2
together.
kids,
So like,
and the kid may not be his, and that's the rumor that's flying around now.
but I thought it was a rumor, but now it's like the kid isn't his, or am I wrong in that?
The official reason, yeah, I saw this. The official reason is his father's illness. His father's having some illness issues, and that's the reason why he has not been going on.
I'll tell you this right now. My pops is my boy. That's my dude. I'm not missing 21 games. Even if he passes away, you're not missing a month and a half. I'm sorry. Maybe
okay. So all right. So we both are terrible people. All right, good. I thought I was by myself.
No. Listen. I love, but what I'm my point is,
I understand what you're saying.
My point is like, okay, yeah, your dad. You got hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, you're not going to miss 21 games. Is your dad sick? You're just not. And if he dies, you're
at
still
least I would assume, and many other athletes have done this many times where they're dealing with an ill family member. But what you do is, are you going to sit there and just dwell on it when you're not doctor? You can't do anything. So you rather at least get a mental escape by playing basketball.
I mean, everybody handles things differently,
and that's true. That's a true.
I don't want to shame Andrew Wiggins. I'm just telling you guys how
he's a sensitive dude. Just by a little bit of just seeing what he, remember he was supposed to be the man in the Timberwolves. He wasn't
Canadian,
a leader.
He's Canadian, so
how dare you? What's that supposed to mean?
Right?
Shout out to our Canadian listeners.
You say sensitive, and I think, well, he's Canadian. Oh, Drake's Canadian. Okay, that makes sense.
Listen, I would love to go to Toronto. There's a lot of lovely people there, but
yes,
he's not a leader. But if he was one of the main reasons they won that championship last year.
Oh, they don't win without him.
He could have got the MVP for the finals.
Yes,
he was playing defense and scoring, so he found his role. But I'm telling you right now about this little situation. It's hard for me to believe that's the reason.
No. I mean, from what I've been seeing, but and the one thing I have to remind myself is you got to watch what you see on TikTok or this or YouTube, because people can make up shit, right?
Yeah.
But it seems like, like his girl, there's been some paternity issue, like something's going on there. I mean, that's
the girlfriend is denying it. So and I'm gonna show you the article from Shams. Shams, I think, was the first one who dropped the news on this. So let me see if you so yeah. The reason is a family matter. I'm like, all right, family matter. Yeah, sounds like that terrible thing that we were talking about. The reason for Wiggins' absence since mid-February is his father. Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. His father was dealing with a serious illness. If that's true, why wouldn't they not talk about it? Why didn't they announce this when it happened?
That's the easy thing you can explain. Now, I think it could be both. I think he could be dealing with things at his home, because clearly, think about it like this. Let's say his dad's sick, which sucks. I mean, I'm sorry if that's the case.
I'm not saying it's a lie. I'm sure he probably is seriously ill, and that's terrible.
I think they're talking about that, and that could be true. But it's also, imagine this. You got your chick, married or not. You're living together. You got 2 kids together. That's your chick. You got 2 children together. Yeah. And you start seeing stories that one of those kids isn't yours. That, to me, is more of an issue than my dad being sick. It just is.
I seriously cannot imagine it.
Yeah, I can't.
It's completely devastating.
I have a 20, almost 21-month-old. Okay. If I found out that that's not my kid, I'm pissed. Then I'm hurt. Then I'm
Yeah.
sad. I'm all the emotions under the sun. Because
So
now
when
it's
we
like,
heard that excuse, when we heard the rumors, no one said get your ass back in the game. Like we was like, damn, that's pretty effed up. Like, yeah, I probably like
and with
that's
his best friend.
Yeah, that's where I wouldn't even like that part. So when they come out with this, and the thing is, the Golden State Warriors were very, very good at keeping this. Like they did not want to. There was questions asked. What's going on with Wiggins? Like, is he all right? They're like, yeah. Like, what's going on? We can't tell you nothing. And then and I feel like by me saying I don't believe it, I feel like an asshole. Like, I feel like I'm questioning someone's being sick and they're lying. It don't add up, man. It don't add up.
I don't think it adds up for most people. But I hope. Listen, I just hope the whole family thing for him figures itself out. His dad as well, but like you got to understand, like when you involve kids and the innocence of what kids are versus maybe his dad's 60 or something, or I get it. That sucks, but like when you involve kids, to me, there's levels and it's just different, right?
Yeah.
So I hope everything works out and he gets the time he needs. He took time away.
Yep.
Draymond
was talking on a podcast criticizing everyone for throwing out these vicious rumors. It's like, come on, bro. You may know what's going on. Maybe he knows more than we do. It's hard to believe that is the only reason. It doesn't make sense. If that was the reason, they would announce that the first day he was off. Yeah, his father's sick, and he's just not. We would have known this.
Well, they wouldn't have let all this.
Ago.
They wouldn't have let all these thousands of stories be talked about, like, right? They would have said, "Hold up, that's not it. They're fine. His father's sick. He's taking time away. Done.
Yeah.
Quick press conference before a game, and you're done. No people.
And none of us same problem. None of us would have even questioned. I'm like, all right. I mean, like I said, everyone deals with sadness and crazy situations differently. But that'll be a different conversation. Don't play us. We're not stupid, man.
No, and listen, if my dad's sick, like I get, I'm gonna look at my dad and be like, I'm here for you. I'm gonna go play, and I'm gonna play for you.
Will probably
I'm gonna play for you every single night.
Stop,
and I'm gonna
Yeah, your father will be like, get out of here, get out of this hospital, and go play.
Yeah. But if if a girl is having my best friend's child and I don't find out about it, and I get, that's a gut punch. I don't want to play basketball.
Yeah, again, if that was the real reason, which is probably the reason, no one is arguing, go back and play. Like, you got to get your shit together, because you could be a live wire. The little thing, like Dylan Brooks may come and say a whisper to something, and he may just strangle him on the court because the emotions are all over the place. And this, you know what? Nova kind of put a good. If Dylan Brooks is Canadian,
is he?
That's what Nova
explains a lot. He's trying to do too much.
He's trying to.
Dylan Brooks is over
too gangster.
yeah. Because he knows he's Canadian. Yeah.
I didn't know you were so anti-Canadian, Pedro.
No, okay, hold on. I'm not, but I am. No, name me one tough Canadian. Give me one tough guy. Besides hockey players. Hockey players are the toughest guys walking as far as sports go. So those guys are tough. But if you don't play hockey,
I'm trying to think of an athlete that's Canadian. I can't think of any. I'm sure they are. They're right there.
Ooh, name one.
Canadian athlete.
Boxer, anybody. Give me somebody. A football player.
Like famous Canadian. Come on, Nova Dasher. You're the Canadian expert here.
If Drake if Drake and Justin Bieber are your toughest guys, you're not representing.
Well, then that's a problem.
That's a problem.
No, nothing. Wayne Gretzky, they say hockey player. Wayne Gretzky, Sidney Crosby.
All hockey guys are tough. So
yeah, that's GSP, George St. Pierre, bro. Come on now, he can kick all of our asses. Right now,
any of those guys could, but he's not like a mainstream big name.
No, he's not mainstream, but he's one of the greatest
phenomenal fighter. But
that's it.
That's it. And but then when he talks, it's like, that doesn't match.
Lee says, Iron Mike Sharp. I'll take your word for it.
Never heard of him.
What does he play?
Yeah, hockey's he a hockey player?
Probably. Yeah, hockey players they gangsters. But
Yeah, those guys stuff. Yeah.
yeah, and what do you think about their chances? They're I think the sixth seed, the Golden State Warriors. I'm obviously him coming back is a big help, like a huge
Yeah,
help.
no, the Warriors have a shot because they have Stephen Curry, a
Yeah,
great team. You know, they've been there, great coach. So Warriors absolutely can
they
beat
needed it. It was a
anybody in
shot in
the
the
7
arm
games.
that they needed,
But
regardless of what.
they would need him at the level that he played last year in order for them to win. And
Yeah,
if he can do that, then absolutely they got a shot.
yeah. I mean, he's fresh. Hopefully, mentally. Listen,
Yeah,
we'll see how he plays and see what's going on. I
yeah,
don't believe it's just that. It doesn't. It's just not adding up. And it may feel kind of shitty saying that, but I gotta take it. I'm looking at it. I see it. There's something's missing. It can't
yeah.
just be an illness, right? It just can't.
And I hope it's just that.
I hope it's just that. And I hope that his father recovers because he's
Yeah, yeah. I
he's a
hope
former
it's just
athlete
that.
as well. I think
Yeah,
I don't know if he played basketball or both his parents were like athletics and
yeah.
like professional
I
athletes.
mean,
So
I hope him and his girl are doing their thing and trying to repair it if there's something going on there.
well, you gotta
'Cause,
leave that chick. No,
well,
if it's
yeah.
true.
No,
Oh
no,
yeah,
no.
yeah,
Hold on, hold
definitely.
on.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you leave and you figure out. But the main question is, okay, what do you do with this kid like that? You know, like I don't
Yeah.
even know, bro. That's tough. But yeah, no, that chick's done. I'm done with her. There's no way
Clearly, it's a
you're having
portrayal
sex
that
with
you
my best
can't.
friend and that's not my kid. Oh, I can't fuck with you no more. No way.
Yeah, you
Absolutely
gotta
not.
figure some legal issues.
No amount
I
of
would,
therapy is gonna come back
in
from that.
my
I'm sorry.
mind, it's important to make to make that separation. I think
Mhm.
if they're young, try to work. I just don't think it would be a good idea. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we could have that conversation. Hopefully, if we
Yeah,
get more information, some real information about it, we could talk about it. But
yeah.
I don't know. That's rough, man. That's
It
rough.
is.
All right. Before I leave, I want to drop one good album that I was listening to. Let me hopefully I get this latest album. I don't want to just I don't know if you guys know who Sky Zoo is. He's been in the game for a minute. New York, okay. He's a New York rapper. I'm sorry, guys, but
New
it's not the
York,
bias.
East Coast bias.
Listen,
Go ahead. Go ahead, Hannibal. East Coast
what? All
bias.
right, you
Go
know
ahead.
what? I got two albums. I just remember another one. But The Mind of a Saint, 40 years old, so he's been in the game quite a while.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mind of a Saint, really good album. It's one of the best albums I've heard so far this year. Mind of a Saint from Sky Zoo. You'll like it. He's an old school dude. Obviously, he's around our age, so I was listening to it this weekend, enjoying it. But I actually remembered there's another album that came out this weekend, really good. This guy is from San Fran. All right. Larry June. You guys, you may not know who Larry June is. It's okay.
That name sounds super familiar,
He's
but
been in the game. He's been in the game for a long time, at least since
okay.
2000, like
Yeah.
6 or 7. Like he's been in the game for a while. Laid back flow, got the definitely the West Coast vibe.
Great escape. Okay.
It's a vibe, a good vibe. It's a good
Yeah.
vibe with his music. He's not gonna hit you with some complicated lyrics, but I like his themes and things he talks about, getting yourself together, betting on yourself. He actually says that a few times in a lot of songs.
I gotta
Him
check
being,
out.
well, yeah, it is. So you're your guy. Invest in yourself, and because he's more of that guy who kind of built his rap career on
So a
an
little
independent
motivational, kind of like a little
kind of like, and also he's talking about drugs and women and having sex and stuff. So it's good.
that-
And guess who produced the entire album?
Don't say Hit Boy.
Alchemist.
Oh, Alchemist.
The
Okay.
album. Yep.
Okay.
And love. So the beats are amazing. There's
Alchemist is
a bunch of good songs. I think
Yeah.
there's a good track there with Big Sean. Big Sean kills it. I think it's got Action Bronson. If you guys want to great value, Ghostface Killer in there. He's in there.
You hate some Action Bronson, don't you?
He's all right. He's all right.
I don't mind him. I don't mind
too much like Ghostface Kid. It's kind of sad, but that's just how he raps. I don't think he's doing it on purpose.
I don't think he is.
But,
I think that's the influence. That's just like how that's the style, right?
But I'm loyal to Wu-Tang. Like I can't, But just so those two good albums. Check them out. They just came out this week. Both solid. I think Sky Zoo is probably better. It's a little more elevated with the lyrics. But with Alchemist producing every beat to anybody, it is amazing.
It's going to be at least a good listen because you're going to have some good production. So
yep. So I did see. New York to LA. I did the whole coast. Now, I'm
I
not just
appreciate you doing that because I don't want people coming in here and be like, "Oh, here's Hannibal, another East Coast rapper. Here he
yeah.
goes again." You know, so, listen, y'all. He lives in Brooklyn, so he's gonna
I
like
what
the
else I'm
There's
gonna
nothing
do?
wrong with that. There's
I've
nothing
you
wrong with
know
that. Nothing wrong with that.
I'll go back to LA one of these days. You know, I guess
Yeah.
get my money together. But all right, guys, we kind of went through a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Prayers to Andrew Wiggins, everything, his family, and all of that, and we'll see what's going on. I think that the main game is actually happening right
So
now.
I'm actually going to pull it up right now. I want to see. It might be okay. There's 9 minutes to go. Oh, Connecticut, 56-41. They're winning by 15 points.
Looks like
They're gonna wind up probably winning, and winning with the average margin of victory is going to be the most ever in the history of college basketball. It's
So it's like UConn for the women, but now it went to the men.
Yeah. Well,
Where UConn was,
they've won multiple. They've won 3 or 4 already. But yeah, it's kind of like
UConn was just women's team was just beating up on everyone for like, I don't know, feel like 10 years in a row. And now so it's kind of funny. But like you said, the men's team actually was successful as well. So, I mean, if there's anything interesting about it, like maybe future NBA players, we'll talk about it on Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, for me, there's been so much more with the women's side.
Yeah, women's way more. No one
than
cares.
The men's. It's just been more exciting, which is I can't say the last time that's happened. So I think it's good, man. I'm all for it. I watched I watched I think 3 women's games this weekend, and it was good. And I'll probably watch the rest of the men's tonight. But it's just not the same. The star power is not there. So
hopefully we can continue this momentum into the WNBA. That's I think starting probably next month.
Yeah.
Problem is none of the players that we're talking about are in there. No. But we gotta fix this. We're gonna talk about this because most people talk about it, they're laughing at it, and it's easy to make fun of something. Mm-hmm. But let's really figure out how can we get this to work. So
let's fix women's professional basketball is what we're gonna do on the Hannibal and Pedro podcast.
Lower the rim.
That's
anyway. We'll go for it. I know Pedro don't want to hear about that shit.
No.
Well, on that note. Thank you guys for checking out the podcast, checking out the YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, put some reviews on especially the Apple Store. That helps us push the content to more people. And we'll see you guys on Wednesday. Peace.